All right, congratulations. You made it through 2A. Now we're off to 2B. The first guideline in 2B is to be careful with your commas. Basically, within this guideline, there are four things that I want you to remember. The first, we're just going to go through an overview. So the first is to put commas around non-essential words or phrases. The second is after introductory elements. The third is after separate clauses, including fanboys and dependent versus independent clauses. And then the fourth is between all elements of a list. Um, so let's go to the first rule of commas. So first is between non-essential words or phrases. A cool indicator that I like to use is to use that versus which. That is for essential information or no commas. And then which is for non-essential information, which is yes, commas. So for example, two of the exact same sentences, but it could be worded a little bit differently and is punctuated differently according to the that versus which. So the first one is the school that does well. That, okay, that's essential information. I don't need a comma there. Cool. And then next, the school which does well. Okay, it's which does well. Okay, the rest of the stuff doesn't really matter, so I need a comma. So that's what we mean by non-essential words or phrases. Okay, so the next one is to after introductory elements. So this is your transition words. So like first, in regards to Disney, in order to meet all the characters, just kind of all in all, in conclusion, like those different transitionary words is what you use a comma after. Yeah. And then the third one is after separate clauses. So this is kind of a tricky one because it could be the exact same sentence, but it could just be flipped. So when you see a dependent clause, an dependent clause first, and then following an independent clause, you need a comma in between that dependent clause. So for example, if you go to Disneyland, comma, you will be happy. So if you go to Disneyland, remember your dependent clause. If you go to Disneyland, what? Okay, it needs something, can't stand on its own. So if you go to Disneyland, comma, you will be happy. And the next one, do not use a comma if the dependent clause follows the independent clause. So if independent clause is first, and then the dependent clause, you do not need a comma. So exact same sentence, but except we flipped it, where the independent clause is first. So you will be happy if you go to Disneyland. Totally good sentence, don't need a comma, should be good to go there. Another thing is in between a fanboy. And this is, fanboys are usually a dependent clause, so this is where the exception is where after, well, actually they're both kind of independent clauses, but you're just using a conjunction word to join the two sentences. So the for and nor, but, or, yet, so. Just memorize this. We'll go through an example in the example quiz that I wrote. But yeah, let's hop into that quiz actually. So which item uses correct punctuation? My only sister, comma, Grace, comma, went to Disneyland for the first time last year. My little brother Jackson loves to ride the teacups. You have three brothers. C. My sister came bursting in the room, saying with excitement, "We are going to Disneyland!" Exclamation point. And D. My family came down to Disney for a weekend and went to Universal Studios. So if we look here, let's start with B because that's the one that looks weird to me. So my little brother Jackson loves to ride the teacups. So you have three older brothers. That's actually essential information. We need to know that because if you have three brothers, we need to know who those three brothers are. So I would actually not put the commas there. So my little brother Jackson loves to ride the teacups. It's totally acceptable. And then C, that kind of looks weird too. So my sister came bursting in the room saying with excitement, "We are going to Disneyland." That's actually a direct quote. Direct quotes is right here. So after the direct quote, this actually needs to become a capitalized W. That's another rule of commas that I forgot to mention before, but I'm glad we're learning it now. So C is definitely out. And then D. My family came down to Disney for a weekend and went to Universal Studios. So this is what we call a conjunctive verb, I think is what it's called. And because there's no subject after that fanboy, yes, there is a fanboy, but it doesn't have a subject or it's not a complete sentence. So we do not actually need the comma here. It's just continuing on from this subject right here. So that's why I think D is wrong. Let's look at A. My only sister, Grace, went to Disneyland for the first time last year. Okay, I mean, yeah, that's cool information, but it's not like it's essential because you only have one sister. So I believe A would be the answer in this case because that is non-essential information. Let's see if we're correct. Oh, I'm just going to move the whole thing over. Yeah, we are correct. Commas can be tricky, but if you follow those 4 rules, you should be able to figure them out and kind of adapt them in your writing as well.